Hey guys, how's it going? Master Cal here, and today I'm going to be doing the 24th video for my 2021 off-season preview series, Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers started off 11-0 last season before tapering off towards the end, finishing 1-4, and in fact almost cost themselves the division while they're at it. However, they were bounced in the wildcard round by the Cleveland Browns in a game that was pretty much over from the first snap, with the going back and the Browns recovering it for a touchdown, and from there the Steelers dug themselves in an early hole that they weren't able to come out of. And there's been a lot of questions about them given their lack of cap space and some uncertain futures regarding their quarterback and their general manager and whatnot. So we'll see what Pittsburgh can do to stay up with obviously a resurgent Browns team, and then the Ravens are still pretty threatening in that division. So their projected starters, you've got Ben Roethlisberger, quarterback, who is confirmed back for one more go. He and the Steelers have agreed to a contract restructure that lowers his cap hit, which was as high as $40 million to down just below $30 million. There was some speculation as to whether the Steelers might release Roethlisberger, given how his yards per attempt was very low, and obviously he played very poorly at the end of the regular season and in the playoff game. But they are going to stick with him to see if they can get him a third ring. They did sign former Washington football team first-round pick Dwayne Haskins to a futures deal, and they still have Mason Rudolph as the backups. At running back, you got Benny Snell Jr., fourth rounder in 2019 out of Kentucky. Snell had a couple of good games last year, but overall the Steelers' running game was among the worst in the National Football League, and that was a big reason why their 11-0 season was a bit of an overachievement, because they had virtually no running game to speak of. So we will see which one of Snell, Jalen Samuels, or Anthony McFarland can establish themselves from the pack. The Steelers only have one tackle under contract, and that is Chukwuma Okorafor, third rounder in 2018. Okorafor filled in for the injured Zach Banner at right tackle and did very well, and so, yeah, Banner's a free agent now. They have signed a couple of tackles to futures deals, but that's a position they'll definitely want to look at. At left guard, I have Kevin Dotson there, fourth rounder in 2020, who saw action about 35% of snaps as a rookie, filling in because of injuries. At center is Maurkice Pouncey, first rounder of the Steelers in 2010, and Pouncey has decided to retire along with his brother Mike Pouncey, which obviously that's going to be disappointing as he was still playing at a high level. It does save the Steelers some cap space, but that also is kind of a bad way to end his career off as being one of the better centers in the NFL, with obviously that bad snap that started the whole downhill run for the Steelers in that playoff game. And then at right guard, it is David DeCastro, who's been one of the better guards in the league for a while now with Pittsburgh, and he's in a contract year as well. He did miss 3 games due to injury. Wide receiver, you got 3 guys on rookie deals: Chase Claypool, James Washington, and Deontay Johnson. Claypool was a second rounder in 2020 out of Notre Dame, who definitely impresses rookie. He had a couple outstanding games, very physically gifted. James Washington. Washington has been more underwhelming in his career thus far. Second rounder in 2018 from Oklahoma State. He had a decent sophomore year, but he wasn't as much of a factor this past year. And then Deontay Johnson, third rounder out of Toledo in 2019, who's been pretty solid. Tight end is Eric Ebron, former Lion, former Colt. He joined the Steelers as a free agent last year, and he became the starting tight end as he and Vance McDonald split duties. McDonald has also decided to retire, which means Ebron is the sole number 1 at the moment. So they're defensive starters now. You got Stephon Tuitt, second rounder in 2014 from Notre Dame, who has been outstanding for them at getting after the passer, part of that stout front 7, and he bounced back from an injury-shortened 2019 season to have a good year. At defensive tackle is Isaiah Buggs, who is a 5th-round pick in 2019 out of Alabama, who's been a rotational player for them. And then defensive end Cameron Hayward, who has gotten better and better as his career has gone on. First rounder in 2011 from Ohio State. Hayward signed an extension during training camp this past year. Off the edge is T.J. Watt, the younger brother, of course, of J.J. Watt, first rounder by the Steelers in 2017. He is set to enter the 5th-year option of his rookie deal, and I imagine the Steelers will look to extend him later this offseason. Middle linebacker is Vince Williams, 6th rounder of the Steelers back in, I think, 2014, who's been starting for them the past few years and has been decent. And then you got Devin Bush. The Steelers took him 10th overall in 2019. They traded up with the Broncos to get him. Bush had a great rookie year, and he was expected to take the next step in year 2. Unfortunately, it ended early with a torn ACL. And then off the other edge is Alex Highsmith, a third-rounder in 2020 out of Charlotte, who showed a lot of promise as a rookie, and he played well, stepping into the starting role after Bud Dupree was lost for the season in December. Cornerback 1 is Joe Hayden, former Cleveland Brown, who's been with the Steelers since 2017 or 2018. I forget which one, but he's been pretty solid for them, even as he gets older. Next is Steven Nelson. And Nelson, who struggled as cornerback 1 in Kansas City in 2018, has been excellent as a Steeler the past couple of years. I also imagine that he will be an extension candidate. And their third cornerback is Justin Lane, third rounder in 2020 out of, I don't remember if it's Michigan or Michigan State. Hasn't really done much as a rookie in his career. He did see some action last year, but otherwise hasn't lived up to the third round billing. Safety, you got Terrell Edmonds and Minkah Fitzpatrick. Both of them were first rounders in 2018. Of course, Fitzpatrick was by the Dolphins, but he was traded to the Steelers early in the 2019 season, and Fitzpatrick has been outstanding while Edmonds has been average. All right, on special teams, you got Cameron Canaday as the long snapper. They do not have a punter under contract, and they have Chris Boswell at kicker. Boswell missed 3 games due to injury, but he had a very good year last year besides that. So they're free agents. You got outside linebacker Bud Dupree, who played last year under the franchise tag, and he was having another great year before the injury. So we'll see how that impacts his earnings. Starting left tackle Alejandro Villanueva. We'll see if Villanueva leaves elsewhere, or if he resigns, or if he also retires. Linebacker Avery Williamson, a mid-season trade pickup from the New York Jets. Slot cornerback Mike Hilton. Starting left guard Matt Filer. Starting nose tackle Tyson Aluwalu, right tackle Zach Banner, starting wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, outside linebacker Cassius Marsh, outside linebacker Jaron Elliott, punter Jordan Berry, defensive tackle Chris Wormley. They actually acquired Wormley in a trade during the offseason with the division rival Ravens. Safety Jordan Dangerfield, guard Danny Isidora, safety Sean Davis, slot cornerback Cameron Sutton, running back James Conner, swing tackle Gerald Hawkins, special teamer wide receiver Ray McLeod is a restricted free agent, backup quarterback Joshua Dobbs, safety Marcus Allen is an exclusive rights free agent, outside linebacker Olasun Kanmi Adenayi is a restricted free agent, center J.C. Hassenauer is an exclusive rights free agent. The Steelers have re-signed him to a 1-year deal. He would be the Steelers' starting center if the season were to start today. And linebacker Robert Spillane, who filled in for the injured Bush and played pretty well, is an exclusive rights free agent. All right, so the Steelers, after their various moves, the retirements of Pouncey and McDonald and the restructure of Roethlisberger's along with Hayward's contracts, they are now cap compliant. They have $3.62 million in cap space, and I imagine they'll try to open up a bit more. The needs that they will have to fill, they're definitely going to have to find one offensive tackle. And I mentioned before, either they could sign a left tackle, they could re-sign Villanueva, or sign or draft another left tackle and keep Okorafor at right tackle, or they could move Okorafor to left tackle and re-sign someone like Banner or bring somebody else in if they want to go down that cheaper route, which I think is more likely. They will need a new nose tackle. If they can bring back Aluwalu for decent price after he actually had a pretty solid season for them, they'll probably do that. I could see them upgrading from Justin Lane at the slot cornerback position, and they'll have obviously their 2 candidates for that in-house would be Mike Hilton or Cameron Sutton. They'll see which one they prefer, or if they let both of them test the market. And they'll obviously need a punter. They did sign Corliss Waitman to a futures deal. So their potential cap casualties, obviously now that Roethlisberger's contract has been restructured, he will be the starter. They could cut Eric Ebron, but I don't believe they will, just because if they do, then they don't have anybody else there at tight end, and that makes it a need. I could see them cutting Williams at middle linebacker and rolling with Spillane or somebody else there. I've seen Hayden as a cap casualty, but I don't think they will do that. And then I think that's really about it there. Yeah, so the Steelers have a lot of guys that'll be free agents after this season between Roethlisberger, DeCastro, Okorafor, Ebron, Watt, Hayden and Nelson will all be free agents as well, so definitely the Steelers will have a bunch of guys, but they'll want to get locked up with extensions. I imagine that Watt is probably at the top of that list, and I would say probably Nelson, Fitzpatrick there as well. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next offseason preview video.